Welcome back to the channel and welcome to this episode of Mark's Garage. We're here in the garage today, and what we're going to do is we're going to dive into an actual adjustment of the chain. I've got a couple other videos I did on the Triumph Scrambler 400X. One dealt with what is the specification for the chain slack, and mine wasn't quite ready at that point, so it didn't make sense to do an adjustment. The other video that I have out there deals with proper lubrication, and in that video I took a little time to show you my technique for getting the bike up, how to spin the wheel, and the lubrication of the chain. But today it's all about doing the actual adjustment to the chain slack, so that's coming next. Glad you're along. Here we go. All right, so you're looking at some of the tools you're going to need here, really all the tools you're going to need for doing the chain slack adjustment on the Triumph Scrambler. So to loosen the axle bolt, the rear axle bolt, or the spindle nut as they call it, you're going to need a 24 millimeter socket. You're going to need some form of a breaker bar to do that. It's not a good idea to use your torque wrench for loosening and tightening things. You want to do that just for measurement so that it remains within spec. All right, so there's a couple of open-end spanner wrenches you're going to need. The 12 millimeter wrench is required for the lock nut, so you loosen that. The 10 millimeter wrench is the adjuster. That's the size of the adjuster nut. Okay, so you're also going to need a measurement tool, and that's the 40 to 45 millimeters of slack. And then of course when you're all done, you need to tighten back up the axle bolt, and that's done with a torque wrench that's able to achieve, kind of in its middle range, 98 Newton meters. So there you go, those are the tools required. To place the Triumph Scrambler in its upright position, I use the Condor Pit Stop right there. Works out great. With my breaker bar and the 24 millimeter socket, we can now loosen the axle bolt. There we go. Excellent. All right, now it's time to go ahead and loosen up the lock nuts on these adjuster bolts. This is 12 millimeter. There we go. Spin that back a little bit. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Here's the right side lock nut for the adjuster bolt, so we'll loosen that up. Spin that back. All right, we're on to our next step, and this is the adjuster bolt right here, and here's where we're gonna, with our 10 millimeter spanner, we are gonna rotate this counterclockwise to tighten up the chain slack, and we've got to tighten it up just a little bit. We're back over on the right side of the motorcycle, and again, counterclockwise to tighten the chain slack. Triumph provides some adjuster marks on the very back end of the swing arm. There's a couple of dots. I think you can pick them up right there. You just want to make sure that you're equal on both sides. You want to check the chain slack equidistance between the two sprockets, the rear drive sprocket and the front drive sprocket. And that location basically is just inside this, where the muffler meets the pipe right here, right after the converter. So I've got my tape measure, and we're going to measure the free chain movement up and down, and we're just right about perfect. The spec is 40 to 45 millimeters. That's inch and a half to inch and 3/4. So let's see, one more time right there. Yeah, just past an inch and a half, so we're right on the button. We are ready to tighten up the lock nuts on each side. So we'll spin that forward, use our 12 millimeter spanner. Give that a nice snug. We're all set. We'll do the other side. We're now ready to tighten the axle bolt, the rear spindle bolt. So we're gonna get ready for that. Here we go. Got my torque wrench set to the proper spec. That's 98 Newton meters. There it is, 98 Newton meters. Underneath my Triumph sweatshirt, I wanted to share with you the shirt that I was wearing, my T-shirt. This is kind of a classic. This is the Steve McQueen Triumph shirt. So it feels pretty good to be wearing this when you're working on a Triumph. Thanks for tuning in and watching this episode of Mark's Garage. So glad you could come along and learn a little bit about the chain slack adjustment. I've had a few folks reach out to me and ask when I'd be able to do that, so I'm very happy to get that done today. The Triumph has now kind of completed its first season of use for me. I primarily hop on this bike and run over to Road America about a mile away. I use it as my main transportation down a couple of country roads, and then it's great. Its size and its style and everything about it is great to be out at Road America. I can get around the 640 acres very easily on the Triumph Scrambler. So thanks again for watching, and as always, and until next time, take care.